What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. Clutch, and we are back for another NFL season. And today, we are going to break down week 1 of the NFL, and we're going to give out 3 free plays that we love with still 1 week away from kickoff, and that's to give you as much value and edge to start off this season. So we hope you've had a great offseason. We've done our best to stay busy and bridge the gap from the NFL and NBA season. The MLB is rough, and I'm sure anyone out there will agree. We need some football in our lives. And so we are going to break down the NFL Week 1 bets. And we've got 3 games that we're targeting, 3 key games that have caught our eye. We've got the Panthers versus the Saints, the Commanders versus the Bucks, and the Cardinals versus the Bills. And these matchups are loaded with potential edges, and we're going to help you spot those edges with still a week ahead of most of the public perception and public money that's going to come in. So a great opportunity to get some value. If you're tuning in now, make sure to like and subscribe on this video. We're going to give these breakdowns each week during the NFL season. Sometimes I'll be joined by our very own Matty Stats and Mr. No Days Off. But today I'm doing solo because I'm so excited to get out some of the data and insights that we have to share for you. So let's start with game 1, Panthers versus the Saints. We've got a new regime in the coaching staff for Carolina. If you look at some of the moves that general manager had made over the last few years and you're a Carolina fan, I mean, somebody check on a Carolina Panthers fan if you look at what that trade resulted in to go up and get Bryce Young. So if you're a Panthers fan, you are really hoping and really hanging on by a thread on Bryce Young and hoping week 1 he can get you on a great start to the season and some upside. So we're going to have a lot of eyes on Young and the new regime. The Saints are dealing with some key injuries. A few of those are on defense. And so can the Panthers exploit that with their rookie running back who has excited folks during training camp in the preseason, and the quarterback coming in on their second year with a new head coach? Typically in week 1, we lean towards the underdog. You're going to see the public bet a lot of favorites in general. That's the way it typically goes. A lot of excitement in the NFL. A lot of new states have legalized sports betting. You got a lot of new rookies that are joining these sports books. You got to take all that into account. So watch the money as it comes in. You got a chance to place a bet right now that you can double down on or buy back as you get closer to the game. And if you follow our YouTube channel, you'll learn a lot more about buying back and placing a bet early that is going to allow you to maximize your sports betting. So again, subscribe and take a look at that series that we have on advanced sports betting tips. But let's highlight 3 key things that we look for when we're addressing this game. We talked about the offensive scheme. How does the new offense typically play out? You do see in week 1 that the defenses tend to get the best of offenses. Offenses tend to be a little bit sluggish in the first few weeks. Everything's moving a lot faster than what it was in training camp. A lot of starters didn't play the preseason. The NFL defenses just seem to get there sooner than the offenses. That being said, I like that there's no film on the Panthers offense. You know, there's very limited film. They seem to do well against the Jets. Following the Jets training camp, they did come in. They played well against the Jets. The Jets had some of their worst days of practice in camp against the Panthers. So I took note of that and kept my eye on this team. The injuries are not something to ignore on the Saints side. We've still got another week for the game. But right now where the line is, I think there's a chance to move a line by a point or so if some of these key players do play. And if they don't play, I think that I like my chances even more where the line's sitting right now. And then you've got to look at the historic stats, specifically with division rivalries in week 1. Division games often play out a lot closer than expected. And when week 1, typically 63% of the time, the underdog covers if the spread is shorter than 6. And in this game, the current spread is at +5. So I love this play at +5. It was a lean before I got some of the key stats and the historical division stats. So I moved it up to a 1-unit play. I like this play at +5. I like it all the way down to +4 for a unit play. So that's our thought on our first key game. The second key game, Commanders versus Bucks. There's a lot to be excited about here. The Bucks were the talk of the town in Florida. They made the playoffs after everyone expected them to have a below 500 record. But Baker Mayfield definitely impressed many people and got the best of many defenses late in the season. And he had a great game in the playoffs as well. So the Bucs come in with, I'd say, more of the public perception of a winning team. So keep that into account when you're looking at this game. And the Commanders are coming in with a rookie quarterback and also a new regime on the offensive side. And so what can they do? They brought in Austin Eckler during the offseason. They've got a 1-2 punch now with Robinson. We really like what they could do there in the run game. So the Commanders' offense here in the run game, I think Daniels is going to stretch the field. He can throw accurately down the field, but he's also very fast. And when you've got those running backs in the backfield, it gives you a lot of options. So I do like that Washington offense, especially with Daniels being able to stretch the ball down the field. He can hit those receivers accurately downfield, but they've got a really good run game potential to stretch it, especially with Austin Eckler coming in, who's one of the best pass-catching running backs in the NFL. That's going to give take a lot of pressure off of a rookie quarterback. You've also got to look at these early season trends, specifically with elite defenses. And you can consider the Commanders to be an elite defense. They're actually very undervalued in how they set this line, especially on the total. So I like the edge with the Commanders on defense against a very vulnerable Bucs offense and a chance for them to exploit Baker Mayfield, who typically is loose with the ball. I can see that happening here with the Commanders. We lean Commanders +4. We're going to lock in that play at 4. We like that line, no shorter than that. Third game, we got the Cardinals versus the Bills. These are two explosive offenses. One team has a little bit more of an edge and a difference maker. There's a lot to be excited about with both of these teams. You see the Bills have a new look offense, getting rid of a high-profile receiver like Stephon Diggs, but bringing in a young rookie talent in Coleman, who's expected to get big targets and big volume, do really great things for this offense. On the Arizona side, you got Kyler Murray, who's bringing in a rookie wide receiver who is sought out to be one of the best receivers in the NFL. I don't know if he's overhyped. I've seen the tape. He looks great. Kyler Murray and Harrison Jr. And can James Conner keep the wheels on again for another year? I mean, he's a 31-plus-year-old running back. You typically see some drop-off, but last year we did not see that drop-off. If he stays healthy, he's on the field, he can be a powerhouse for this team, and that puts some defenses in trouble when Kyler Murray gets outside of those tackles. So 3 keys to look at for this game. The Cardinals' offensive line. I think it's important to note that the stats on the Cardinals' offensive line is very skewed. You know, last year they had a lot of different quarterbacks, and in general, this is an offensive line that's got to accept giving up more sacks than other offenses. When you've got a dynamic quarterback like Kyler Murray, who likes to hold on to the ball and make plays and test those defensive ends, you're going to get a lot more sacks. That shows up on this data. That said, I think they're a much better defensive team. They have more of a bend but don't break mentality, and you can see them giving up a lot of yards in games, but they can hold teams to field goals and they can turn over the ball. And I think that's an underrated part of that Cardinals defense. And then you look at the Bills' running game. Really their strength, and I think where they lean in this year is going to be in that run game. You know, they've gotten a lot out of Cook and seem to figure out how to get him inside and outside of the tackles. I think with Josh Allen losing his #1 target, you can see them lean a little bit more on the short passing game and that power run game that they have. So that said, I do believe the Bills find a way to win this game, but at +7, this is just too good to pass up for week 1. Arizona Cardinals are 68% of the time have covered their week 1 spread. The Bills, on the other hand, have lost their opener 3 of the last 5 seasons. So when you think about those two things, I like the Cardinals at +7. I like them at +6.5. I'll take it and lock it in right now. Give me the Cardinals all day. Final thoughts. Remember, this is week 1 of the NFL, so you want to avoid the traps. Stay away from the public perception. If someone's showing up in your news feed, if the analysts are all on one side, you typically want to jump to the other side. Remember, sports betting is still fairly new in a lot of states. We got a lot of new sports bettors that are joining the sports books, putting in more public money into the market. You want to be on the other side of that. So it's good to get a bet in now about a week early. And then when we get closer to kickoff, you can see where your closing line value is. You can even add on to that bet, or you can buy some of that bet back depending on how that line moves. We're going to try to be 1 week ahead in the NFL season. So make sure to like and subscribe so you can get these insights into these games. So for us, avoid the public perception and stick to your bankroll management. It's going to be a very exciting weekend in college football coming up. And then you've got the first week of NFL. Stick to your unit size of what got you here. 1 unit bets on our single best plays. If you're doing parlays, they're likely going to be 0.5 plays. Our touchdown scores, depending on how many legs, will be very clear in our units, but it's all strategic. We don't throw a lot of units around. We want to put about 5 to 6 units at risk on a Sunday with the hopes to win 7 to 9 units that week. And that's how we're going to stack in the NFL season. So follow along. Take a look at the link below. We've got a lot of affiliate partners and deals that you could take advantage of in your specific state. And let's crush these sports books this NFL season. We're really excited for year 5. And tune in next week when we break it down. But good luck in your week 1 bets, whether you follow or fade. Let's make some cash.